Welcome, story lovers, to At the Jones Life Stories. Where are you tuning in from today? Drop your city in the comments below and let us know. Do you think what happened in this story was a simple misunderstanding or something far more deliberate? Stick around because this tale builds to a powerful reckoning you won't see coming. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss our latest true-to-life stories of dignity, downfall, and redemption. Stay till the end. This seat wasn't just a seat. It was a line they should have never crossed. You're asking my wife to leave? Jordan's voice cut through the luxury dining room like a blade, just as the room fell silent. A beautiful, brown-skinned professor walked into a birthday dinner, only to be humiliated and removed from her reserved seat. But 5 minutes later, the arrival of a limited-edition Tesla shatters every illusion of power in that room. Who owns the restaurant? Why did they target her? And what happens when quiet dignity meets corporate justice? This is a story of power, prejudice, and a reckoning that rewrote the rules. Let's dive in. Alina Moore stared at the ivory envelope on her kitchen counter, its golden embossed lettering catching the morning light like it had something to prove. It wasn't her usual invitation. Academic conferences, lecture tours, honorary panels were her world. This was social, exclusive, gilded in a way only the ultra-wealthy dared. It was for the 6th birthday of Madison Langford, daughter of Cynthia and Richard Langford, hedge fund elites and partners in real estate ventures with Jordan, her husband. The event was at Vivre Blanc, the city's most coveted restaurant, where reservations had wait lists longer than Ivy League admissions, and the menu listed no prices, only symbols of prestige. Jordan, a silent player in luxury circles, mentioned the party casually over dinner 2 weeks ago. They asked if we'd attend. I said yes for both of us, he said between bites of salmon. Alina raised an eyebrow. Both? It's just a formality. You'll enjoy it, he replied with a wink, as if showing up was effortless. But Alina wasn't one for formality dripping in quiet codes and silent judgments. She didn't grow up learning which fork went with which course, and had no interest in pretending. Yet, as she glanced at the invitation again, something tightened in her chest. She wasn't nervous, she was aware. Aware of how rooms like these inventoried skin tone before credentials. Still, she decided to go, not to perform, not to please, but to occupy space. Jordan wouldn't arrive until later. He had meetings all day. Alina saw no reason to wait. She chose a flowing white slip dress that skimmed her curves without apology, minimal jewelry, no designer handbag, no statement shoes, just grace and intention. Her hair, soft coils, was swept into a low bun. Her presence would speak for itself. The Uber pulled up to Vivre Blanc's polished entryway past 3 p.m. The midday sun bounced off the glass and chrome facade, making it a temple of modern privilege. A valet in a charcoal uniform opened her door, his eyes flickering briefly, not hostile, but calculating if she fit. She stepped out, chin high, strides measured but unbothered. Inside, marble floors gleamed like mirrors beneath her sandals. A massive chandelier, a frozen firework, cast warm light on a curated crowd. Truffle oil and chilled champagne scented the air, subtle but assertive. At the hostess podium stood a blonde woman, tight bun, tighter smile. Her name tag read Amber. Good afternoon, Alina said politely. There's a birthday party for Madison Langford. My name should be on the guest list, Alina Moore. Amber nodded perfunctorily, flipping through a leather-bound reservation book that screamed tradition despite the Instagram-optimized room. Her eyes scanned twice, paused. I'm sorry, I don't see a reservation under that name. Alina's smile held. It should be there. My husband, Jordan Moore, confirmed it directly. We were invited by the Langfords. He reserved table 3 by the garden window. Amber's mouth tightened, a micro-expression Alina knew too well, caught between protocol and perception. She whispered to another hostess, then turned back. Would you mind waiting? I'll have our manager assist. Alina stepped aside, music and conversation continuing, as if she were invisible. She wasn't offended, not yet, but she was noting. 5 minutes passed. 10. Guests arrived, mostly white, dressed in effortless money. A woman in red Louboutins was ushered in without question. A man in linen nodded once, and was led to a private lounge. Then, A tall woman in a silk emerald dress entered like a storm in satin, blonde, tanned, confident. She swept to the hostess stand. Amber straightened. "Miss Langley, welcome. Your favorite table is ready, table 3. Alina's heart thumped. "Excuse me," she said evenly. "That's the table my husband reserved for me." Amber blinked, unreadable. "I'm sorry, ma'am. A mix-up. Miss Langley is a regular. That table's been hers for weeks." Alina looked at her, then at the manager approaching. A man in his 40s, slicked back hair, custom navy suit. His name tag read Gareth Simmons. His glance lingered too long, not condescending, but assessing, like she was a glitch in his ecosystem. "I'm sorry," Gareth said with a half-smile. "The table's unavailable. We can seat you near the kitchen. It's quieter." Alina's spine straightened. Her voice soft but steel-lined. "You're offering me the kitchen while someone sits at my reserved table?" Gareth shrugged. "We accommodate our guests, but mix-ups happen." She was the mix-up. No Jordan, no allies. Her fists clenched, not rage, restraint. She was a guest in a place her husband helped build, treated like a system error. As she opened her mouth, as Gareth gestured to security with casual arrogance, a faint purr of an electric engine echoed outside, sleek, unlike any car the valet handled. The doors parted, heads turned, and Vivre Blanc's air shifted. The electric engine faded as Jordan Moore stepped from a limited edition Tesla. He didn't stride with entitlement. His walk was controlled, precise. A man who knew power was felt, not flaunted. His charcoal gray suit whispered wealth. His bronze skin glowed under chandelier light, his presence reaching before his voice. Jordan never announced himself, the room did. His eyes locked on Alina, arms folded, jaw clenched. A subtle shift, narrowed eyes, flexed jaw, said enough. He crossed the lobby in swift steps, attention fixed on her, the glittering space fading. "You've been standing here this whole time?" he asked, voice low, tense. Alina didn't answer. She didn't need to. The answer hung thick, visible as the discomfort rippling through watching guests. She tilted her head toward the hostess stand. No reservation. They gave the table to someone else. Jordan turned slowly, deliberately, ready to dismantle. His gaze hit Gareth, who stepped back, trying to vanish into decor. "You gave away my wife's table." Gareth cleared his throat, smile reflexive. "A misunderstanding, Mr. Moore. We didn't realize this guest was your wife." The confession in that pause. This guest, the woman who didn't belong. Alina watched, detached, a play rehearsed too often. Stakes were different now. "You didn't realize she was my wife," Jordan repeated, tasting absurdity. If she wasn't, would her reservation have reappeared? Gareth's mouth opened, wordless. Amber stared at her hands. Guests shifted, unsure if this was a faux pas or deeper. "A miscommunication," Gareth offered, authority evaporating. "A last-minute request from a valued guest." "Which guest?" Jordan's question, a blade. Gareth hesitated. "Miss Langley. Veronica Langley." "Alina, quietly. The woman on 3 diversity panels this year who looked at me like I was housekeeping." Jordan's mouth twitched. He stepped toward Gareth, who backed up. "You gave my wife's table to someone without a reservation because she looked like your VIP. Then offered my wife a seat by the kitchen, like she was lucky to be let in." Silence wrapped the room. The pianist slowed to a faint melody. The mood turned brittle, uneasy, civility fragile when class and color collided. Gareth tried, smile stiff, forehead slick. "Had we known—" "You didn't need to know," Jordan cut in. "You needed to respect the reservation, the name, the human being." He turned to the room. No raised voice, no pounding floor, yet all leaned in. "This is why I stayed in the background, to see how people act unwatched. I've heard rumors, seen patterns, but today you gave proof. You thought my wife didn't belong because she didn't wear sequins or European arrogance. You buried her name under bias. Veronica Langley at table 3, crystal flute in hand, smirked, discomfort veiled. "This is dramatic," she said, forcing a laugh. "We can be adults." Jordan ignored her, staring at Gareth, unraveling. "I'm Jordan Elijah Moore, majority shareholder. The woman you diminished is Dr. Alina Moore, tenured professor at Westbridge University, published scholar, the only one here who doesn't need to prove she belongs." He offered Alina his hand, not chivalry, solidarity. She took it slowly. Gareth stammered, but the moment passed. Damage done. As they walked to the table, Alina didn't smile, glare, or flinch passing Veronica, who stared at her drink, sparkle dulled. First impressions lied. Truth echoed unforgettable. Crystal stemware clinked. Jazz hummed, but it was surface noise. Eyes followed Jordan and Alina's steps. The hush hadn't lifted. It shifted to restraint, whispered judgments, sideways glances. Guests sipped, eyes trailing like drones. Table 3 sat by the garden window, wisteria-framed, serene but charged. Veronica lingered, a queen refusing to vacate. She didn't rise, crossed her legs, swirled her drink, claiming the room. Jordan stopped, hand on Alina's. "Ms. Langley," he said coolly, "you're in the wrong seat." Veronica looked up, smirk intact, voice laced with innocence. "I had no idea this table was such a contention. I assumed first come, first served." She sipped at it, if it means that much to her. To her, Alina cut in sharply, "This is principle. To you, it's convenience wrapped in entitlement." Her voice didn't tremble, it cut, measured, crisp, slapping Veronica's porcelain politeness. Guests flinched. An older man in a designer scarf turned to watch. A couple near the bar exchanged glances. Veronica laughed breathily, stood slowly, brushing her dress as if sullied. "I suppose we're all learning our place today, aren't we?" Jordan didn't answer, stepping aside, holding Alina's chair. She sat without a word. Gareth hovered by a pillar, composure bleeding. "Mr. Moore, if I may." "You may not," Jordan said, not looking. Gareth recoiled, turning to the bar, motioning the waiter with a desperate flick. The room tried moving on, but conversations were stilted, laughter forced, waiters unsteady. Alina, in her rightful chair, surveyed with cool precision. She'd mastered appearing unbothered in exclusive rooms, keeping her back straight while her right was questioned. But this was different. A room thinking money erased her, now sitting in her presence's discomfort. Jordan stood behind her, arms folded, watching Gareth approach with 2 security guards in black suits, stirring murmurs. "You've got to be kidding," Alina muttered, eyes narrowing. "Mr. Moore," Gareth began, feigning authority. A guest requested de-escalation. "Perhaps we relocate Dr. Moore. Move my wife, because your guest is uncomfortable with her at her reserved table?" Jordan interrupted. Gareth hesitated. "A courtesy suggestion, sir." Alina stood, hands on the table, voice quiet, lethal. "After denying my reservation, offering the kitchen, handing my table to someone else, watching her mock me, you think removing me is the solution? Want them to drag me out? I've survived worse than this velvet-lined circus." Her words bit like smoke through silk. A guard shifted, unsure. Gareth paled. "Dr. Moore, please." "No," Jordan said, stepping beside her. "Now you understand. We're speaking as 2 men on opposite sides of a lawsuit." Lawsuit rang off crystal electric. Heads turned. A fork dropped. Gareth stepped back, face twitching between alarm and calculation. "This isn't necessary." "It became necessary when you erased her," Jordan snapped. "When your bias became policy, when whiteness equaled priority, and everything else was a kitchen seat." Silence returned, thick with guilt. No one spoke, reached for drinks. Veronica, 2 tables away, sat motionless, jaw tight, gaze averted. Alina breathed slowly, reclaiming oxygen the room denied. No tears, not weakness, but this was reckoning, not sorrow. She sat, not just in a chair, but in clarity. She didn't need apologies, accountability. Jordan's hand on her shoulder, solidarity. He turned to Gareth, unraveling. 1 hour. Clear your schedule. Emergency board meeting. Don't touch the reservation log, we have a copy. He sat beside Alina, their presence a declaration. The room exhaled, but normalcy didn't return. This wasn't about a table, it never was. It was power, who decides who deserves it. Outside Vivre Blanc, late afternoon sun cast shadows across the valet line, luxury vehicles polished silhouettes. Lavender from the courtyard, citrus from champagne within. The restaurant, a fortress of exclusivity, didn't know something shifted beyond its doors, not with sirens, but precision, inevitability, innovation cloaked in luxury. A low hum, a Tesla Roadster, obsidian black, gleaming, pulled into the drop-off lane. No horns, just quiet presence, true power's movement. The valet stepped forward, clipboard in hand, but stopped when Jordan emerged. Navy three-piece suit, bespoke, regal calm. He straightened his jacket, locked the car, strode forward, Saul's whispering on stone. The valet nodded, nearly bowing. Jordan's eyes trained on the entrance. He'd received Alina's text 20 minutes earlier. They gave my seat to someone else. I'm standing at the door. No reply needed. His presence was the reply. As Jordan crossed the threshold, the atmosphere shifted like a barometer before a storm. Conversations faltered, glasses clinked hesitantly, staff stilled, unease cutting the air-conditioned calm. He passed the bar, Amber frozen at the hostess stand, Gareth emerging from a hallway, flush rising. Jordan saw none. Only Alina, at table 3, wisteria-framed, chin high, dignity unbent. He reached her in seconds, silence stretching. Whispers passed, rumors drafting. Jordan leaned in, kissed her crown. Not theatrical, deliberate. She touched his wrist, fingers lingering. The room watched, breathless. Jordan pivoted, a general surveying a battlefield. Which is Gareth Simmons? Gareth, behind a marble column, stepped forward. I'm Gareth, Mr. Moore. Jordan's expression didn't shift. You're the man who humiliated my wife in front of strangers. Gareth's hands wrung. There's been confusion. Was there confusion when her name was in the book? Jordan interrupted. Or only when a white socialite walked in, and you decided she looked more appropriate? Appropriate. Hung, daring a flinch. None did. Gareth swallowed. I didn't realize she was your wife. You didn't need to, Jordan said, voice rising in resonance. All you needed was to honor the reservation, not judge a woman for lacking diamonds or logos. Silence, oppressive. Veronica, one table away, went still, rose untouched. And you, Jordan addressed her, sat at a table with another's name, knowing it wasn't yours. Veronica raised her chin, smug. I didn't know. The staff seated me. The staff follows the room's tone. Jordan shot back. Set by your entitlement. He turned to Gareth. You embarrassed my wife, my name, my investment, this brand. You thought she was invisible for walking with grace, not arrogance. Now your authority's invisible. Gareth's mouth opened, closed. Another manager moved, but Jordan raised a hand. Stop. This isn't minor. It's public erasure, prioritizing appearances over integrity. He pulled his phone, tapped, held it up. This, showing the reservation confirmation, is proof table 3 was booked under Alina Moore. Timestamped, verified. You don't owe her an apology, you owe a reckoning. The statement pulsed through marble, wine glasses, ceiling. Veronica stood, left her table, hands trembling. Gareth nodded, muttering, We'll fix this. No, Gareth, Jordan said, stepping closer. I will. You, prepare to explain to the board why this restaurant may not have a future under you. He sat beside Alina, exhaling. The Tesla arrived quietly, but its owner left a crater where silence was mistaken for weakness. Tension didn't dissipate, it thickened, a storm refusing to break. It clung to walls, seeped into conversations, shadowed every fork. Guests ordered wine, murmured business, but lacked conviction. They witnessed power dismantling politeness, a system cracking. Gareth, once ruling with smooth charm, looked like a man on glass barefoot. He lingered at the dining room's edge, pretending calls on his headset, eyes flicking to Jordan and Alina at table 3, reclaimed, radiating dignity, no chandelier rivaled. Jordan sipped water, hand loose, Alina poised beside him, eyes calm but burning. Not anger, surgical precision, memory, quiet fury recalling every breath Gareth stole. Jordan set his glass down. We need the reservation log. Alina glanced up. They'll say it was deleted. He nodded. That's why IT forwarded me all cloud syncs and edits. The system auto-archives every 30 minutes. Gareth approached. Pale, smirk gone, quiver in its place. Mr. Moore, we can sort this without escalation. A regrettable oversight, not our values. Jordan turned slowly. What are your values, Gareth? The manager blinked. Sir, Your values, Jordan repeated. In your manual, or practice through selective hospitality. Gareth's mouth hinged. This isn't typical. It is consistent, Alina cut in razor sharp. I've heard complaints about Vivre Blanc. Never thought I'd be one. Jordan pulled a folded paper from his jacket, opened it slowly. This is the edit log. Table 3. More Alina, 3 p.m. Edited at 2:48 p.m. Replaced with Langley Veronica. He looked up. How did that happen? Gareth stared, lost. I don't recall. Of course not, Alina said, locked on him. Remembering means responsibility. Gareth swallowed. It's possible the hostess. Amber doesn't have admin access, Jordan cut in. Only management overrides VIP reservations. Implications settled like ash. Gareth unraveled, posture shrinking. Perhaps I misunderstood. There's a confirmation number. Jordan tapped the paper. Time-stamped, sent to my assistant, forwarded to Alina. Alina leaned in, voice soft, lethal. Do you know how exhausting it is to fight for space you've earned, in rooms you helped build, only to be told you don't belong? Gareth's silence confessed. Patrons pulled phones, snapping photos. A woman whispered to her husband, who nodded grimly. No longer private, a public reckoning. Jordan folded the log, tucked it away, reached for his phone. Rachel, assistant general manager, appeared, nervous, dark-rimmed glasses. Rachel, Jordan said smoothly, inform the board. Emergency session, 7:30 p.m. Every senior staff, including Mr. Simmons. Rachel's eyes darted. Yes, sir. And, Jordan added, audit the week's reservation log. Edits, deletions, names appearing twice or displaced. Gareth opened his mouth, but Jordan's finger stopped him. Don't speak. Prepare. Gareth retreated, a man off a cliff. His exit, wordless, dramatic as a courtroom scene. He entered expecting to host, now a liability. Alina exhaled, not relief, grounding. She glanced at Jordan, face unreadable. You didn't have to come. You shouldn't have had to stand. That was the difference. Jordan didn't elevate Alina, he recognized her. Her worth wasn't debated, a fact. The table wasn't about food, being seen, counted. The restaurant would count the cost. A server, young, nervous, set down wine glasses silently. Before leaving, he placed a folded napkin on the table. Alina opened it. You weren't the first. Jordan read over her shoulder, unflinching. Then it's time, he murmured, to ensure you're the last. At 7:30 p.m., while dessert was served to lingering elites, a different gathering unfolded behind a frosted glass, door marked staff only. The private boardroom, rarely used, was coldly elegant. Leather chairs, obsidian table, projector, wine bar untouched. No dinner meeting, a reckoning. Jordan sat at the head, hands clasped, relaxed with leverage. Alina wasn't there. Her battle was fought. This was Jordan's war. Across, 6 executives fidgeted under coming weight. Gareth entered last, clutching an unopened portfolio, seat unassigned, a subtle power play. He took the farthest chair, drawing a glance. Jordan broke silence. This emergency meeting is called under Clause 12, gross misconduct requiring review. His voice, calm, hit like a gavel. You've read reports, but we'll talk what paper doesn't say. An older board member leaned forward. Jordan, unfortunate, but is this worth escalation? Gareth helped build Vivre Blanc. Jordan's faint smile. What's the Vivre Blanc experience? Ambience, foie gras, or curating comfort for the right guests? Silence wasn't agreement, fear of complicity. A younger member cleared her throat. We've seen logs. The override's clear, but how prove intent? Jordan tapped a touchpad. Lights dimmed, projector descended. Intent isn't always a signature, sometimes a pattern. A spreadsheet appeared, color-coded, damning. 6 months, 17 instances where minority guests were moved, delayed, or not found. 12 had tables reassigned to last-minute white arrivals. All 17, Gareth had override access. Data irrefutable. Faces shifted. One man uncomfortably, another retreated. Gareth's jaw twitched. You're assuming. VIPs, special requests. None justify systemic bias, Jordan interrupted, edge sharp. This isn't one guest, a culture you fostered. Unethical, inefficient. Gareth's eyes flickered. You lecture efficiency, hiding behind ownership. You don't know what maintains an elite brand. The room stiffened. Jordan leaned forward, smile gone. I don't understand elitism by deleting a professor's reservation, or class by complexion.
But I understand leverage. 30 minutes ago, I filed for your termination under ethical breach. A collective inhale. Gareth stood, fists clenched. You throw away a decade for one decision? Jordan stood colder. I'm cleaning house. He held a document signed. Your notice. Access revoked. HR coordinates exit. Speak to counsel. Gareth looked around. No eyes met his. His authority evaporated, erased by silence he once wielded. He stormed out, door clicking like a verdict. Jordan turned to the board. We rebuild. Transparency, equity, accountability, not optional, the brand's future. An older member nodded. Agreed, overdue. Another. Bold, necessary. Jordan sat, eyes steady. We start tonight. Outside, luxury hummed. Unaware the restaurant was burning, something new rising. Morning headlines swarmed. Vivre Blanc rocked by scandal. Racial bias exposed. Leaked before dawn. Likely from a meeting, truth spilled publicly. Vivre Blanc's polished image was chewed apart. Jordan didn't plan the leak, but welcomed it. What Gareth hid with politeness was undeniable, uncontrollable. Within 12 hours, 5 influencers apologized for supporting exclusion. Yelp flooded with stories. My father wore his best suit. Still got the kitchen. Thought it was bad luck, now I know. Alina's statement came at noon, on her university's blog. When you fight to be seen in a place you helped finance, exclusion wears smiling, silent faces. Silence isn't neutral. Shared 10,000 times. Jordan watched from his penthouse, skyline smaller. Lisa, his chief of staff, entered. Mayor's office wants a meeting, political fallout. Set it for Friday, Jordan said. 3 employees from other restaurants came forward, Lisa added. Vivre Blanc isn't isolated. They call it the invisible velvet rope. Jordan stood at the window. I want names. If systemic, we trace it. By 3 p.m., a coalition announced a task force auditing upscale establishments. Vivre Blanc was the catalyst, tipping tiles, shaking an industry. At 5:45 p.m., Richard Langley, Veronica's uncle, called. You've humiliated good people. Let's dial back before this crusade. It is a crusade, Jordan said, hanging up. Inside Vivre Blanc, transformation brewed. Staff met privately, no suits, just truth. Jordan stood in the empty dining hall, tables bare, lights intimate. Some saw, some lived, some benefited from silence. I'm not punishing fear, but this culture ends. You report to leaders who know being overlooked and overqualified. Isaiah, a black server, raised his hand. Are we safe now? I was passed for promotion twice, got closing shifts after complaining. Jordan met his eyes. You're safe. Promoted, head of guest relations now. The room exhaled. Stories poured, whispered, raw, real. A confession booth for a surviving workforce, now heard, believed. By week's end, Jordan rolled out AI reservation tracking, anonymous reporting, equity training with third-party oversight. Media called it radical, competitors reckless, customers right. Veronica called calculated. My family wants this gone. We'll donate, support reforms, pull investments. Stop dragging our name. Your name's revealed, Jordan said. Time people see behind the smile. She hung up. Dominoes fell. Fashion, tech, publishing faced reckonings, inspired by Vivre Blanc. Alina declined a global ethics conference podium, submitting Table 3. Silent power and disrespects geography. Accepted instantly. Jordan hadn't just disrupted a restaurant. He cracked a system. Resistance loomed, but revolutions begin with one person told they don't belong, refusing to stand by the kitchen. A week later, Vivre Blanc's wisteria bloomed. Less wealth's backdrop, more changes witness. Signage remained, energy shifted. No icy stares, performative smiles. Awareness, responsibility, fragile hope assembled like crystal on linen. Friday, a black SUV pulled to the curb. No valet, no flashbulbs, but gravity clear. Dr. Alina Moore stepped out, ivory silk, curls cascading, bronze skin catching light. No logos, no dramatic lip. Her presence commanded. Jordan exited, slate gray suit, hand in hers, approaching doors once framing her humiliation, now opening reverently. Isaiah, in a blazer with the restaurant's crest, head of guest relations, smiled real. Dr. Moore, Mr. Moore, welcome back. Your table's ready. Alina inclined her head. Thank you, Isaiah. Every eye followed, not curiosity, respect. Staff stood straighter, conversation softened, her return a tide reclaiming shoreline. Table 3, unoccupied, dressed in linen, candlelit, peonies fresh, wasn't just a table, symbol, scar, promise. Isaiah pulled her chair, Jordan's hand brushing hers as she sat. This time, Jordan said quietly, you lead. She smiled faintly, reflective. Let's see if the room's ready to listen. Natalie, a server, nervous but sincere, placed menus. An honor to serve you. Chef Amari says tonight's menu is inspired by women who lead without raising their voice. Alina's brows rose, lips lifting. Quite a theme. Natalie blushed, nodded. He said you'd understand. Outside, the city pulsed at dusk. Alina relaxed, not just as fully served, but seen, heard, returned on her terms. Gazes weren't skeptical. They knew why she was here, questioning why they hadn't asked themselves. A couple nodded respectfully. A woman at the bar mouthed, thank you, for a story voicing silent exclusions behind silk and glass. Dishes arrived, named for revolutionary women. Alina leaned into Jordan's conversation but replayed her first day. White dress, dismissed, erased. Now, same woman, name, elegance, undisplaceable. Not revenge, reclamation, needing presence, not anger. Isaiah approached with a black envelope. We framed this, placing it down. Thought it belonged to you. Inside, the original reservation confirmation, time-stamped, archived, glass-mounted. Alina stared, set her fork down, smiled slowly. Proof, she said softly. History has a receipt. Jordan chuckled, lifting his glass. To this table, and everyone never again taken. They clinked, the toast echoing. A new installation replaced vineyard portraits, a black and white photo of a woman at a table, profile to light, posture unbending. Plaque, table 3, where elegance redefined rules. Staff whispered, guests asked, owner silent. The room knew. The check arrived, gold-trimmed, no total, just. On behalf of every guest never again told they don't belong. Thank you. Jordan tucked it away. Alina stood, poised, drawing eyes, not fear, reverence. She walked outdoors, marking her shame. Now different, warmer city, fuller flowers, her story etched in a table, an empire changed. Monday, Vivre Blanc opened under a new rhythm, not shining silverware, but integrity in action. The reservation desk, a digital kiosk, cloud-linked, encrypted, transparent. Maya, the hostess, natural curls a crown, once told to smile more, now stood in a blazer. Equity is the new luxury. The layout shifted, visibility, no hidden tables, intimate lighting, menu rewritten, acknowledging culture shaping food but erased. Bold, welcoming discomfort, patrons not entitled, but those long avoiding, now welcome. Hiring was audited, blind screenings, community outreach. Isaiah, director of guest experience, held weekly dialogues, grievances, ideas. Jordan, no longer silent, led visibly, surrounded by diverse voices, accountable. Alina's campus return met quiet applause. Students stopped her, saw the article.
Thank you for speaking. She smiled, deflected. She never aimed to symbolize, just refused to vanish. Her lecture, renamed The Geography of Power, Whose Table Is It? Tripled attendance. It wasn't a seat, she said, but how systems displace nonconformists. Standards aren't eternal, they're chosen. We can choose better. Beyond Vivre Blanc, dominoes fell. A Seattle spa revamped forms, an Atlanta lounge changed dress codes, a New York hotel added bias detection software. No fanfare, accountability. Jordan stood in Vivre Blanc's dining hall, lights amber, shadows like stories. He ran a finger along table 3, labeled Dr. Moore's table, not ownership, legacy. No applause, no plaque, just a room where seats were rights. Alina entered, heel soft, expression unreadable. Thought I'd hate returning, she murmured. It feels like I own the silence. Not own, Jordan said. You rewrote it. On the terrace, city heartbeat distant, she leaned against the railing, stars blinking. Will it last? It'll evolve, Jordan said. Some resist, some perform, but enough remember. That shifts the axis. It started with you, he added. One name, one woman who didn't back down. She smiled for herself. I didn't need to win. I needed the room to admit it was wrong. Inside, Lynn, new sous chef, left a note. Thank you for a room that fits me. Alina saw it, mouth twitching. Jordan pulled proposals. Expansion. 3 cities requesting Vivre Blanc's blueprint. It's starting, he said. Give them one, she replied. But make them understand. The standard isn't the table. It's courage to stand beside it when told you don't belong. As night deepened, the city quieted. In a restaurant rebuilt from error, fire, a woman and man stood by a table that tried erasing her, not victory, vindication. Outside, the world watched, learned, drawing lines not around belonging, but what wouldn't be tolerated. The standard changed, bearing her name. Thank you for joining this journey of dignity, courage, transformation. If this moved you, share your thoughts below. We'd love your voice. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications for stories that might change how you see the world. Stay brave, kind, never afraid to reclaim your seat. See you next time.